Warning, this episode contains a crossover with the main Did I Get What I Paid For series. I know doing that with a series designed to make the other one easier to watch for new viewers is a bit counterproductive, but these things happen. That being said, welcome back to our Encyclopedia Esoterica. Today we cover O through R. The further into the alphabet we get, the more insane things are gonna be. Yeah, there are still a few letters with more than one entry because I couldn't make up my mind. If you don't like it, shut up and make your own show telling people how awesome my shows are. Chances are it'd be more popular than mine. If only I could contact Nick. He'd know how we'd start.
O is for Alan Oppenheimer. He's the bomb.
Yeah, that's it. Alan Oppenheimer has been in quite a number of franchises we've reviewed on Did I Get What I Paid For. He was the voice of Man-at-Arms, Cringer, and Skeletor on Masters of the Universe. While he wasn't in the particular episode of Scooby-Doo that I reviewed, he's the voice of almost as many creatures in that franchise as Frank Welker. He was Dr. Polydorius on the 1987 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon. I haven't gotten to that season yet, but maybe I'll review that episode. He's not just a voice actor either. He was on an episode of Quantum Leap. I didn't review that episode. Well, I don't think I did. More on that in a bit. And he's a hat-trick actor for the Star Trek franchise. He was a Klingon named Korath in the Star Trek The Next Generation episode Rightful Heir. He was Captain Keogh in Deep Space Nine's The Jem'Hadar. He played the Nezu ambassador on Star Trek Voyager. Fun fact, in perhaps the most insane role of his career, Alan Oppenheimer played Dr. Contraire in Gamera the Invincible. His scenes are the highlight of the direct that was added to the first American cut. While I prefer the Sandy Frank dub, even I can't deny that Oppenheimer is hilarious as an over-the-top parody of William F. Buckley.
P. Sandy, comma Petrillo. Wait, I got that backwards. P. Petrillo, comma Sandy.
He's best known as half of the failed comedy duo Mitchell and Petrillo. After the failure of Bela Lugosi meets a Brooklyn gorilla, his career went in a lot of really weird directions. While Mitchell was able to return to being a lounge singer and became a voice actor, Petrillo's story is far more interesting. He made a few more B-movie appearances after that, most notably a cameo in the classic The Brain That Would Not Die. This led to a chain of exploitation movies. He made a few comedy albums. Much like his first act was stealing from Jerry Lewis, Petrillo's second act was stolen from him by the Jerky Boys and Bart Simpson's prank phone call routine. After that, he did a local talk show, but that didn't last long. Then he became the host of the local station's clown show. When that didn't work out, well, about 7 career changes later, he found 3 careers he was really good at. The first was as a director of infomercials. Yeah, that doesn't take a lot of talent. I could do it if somebody would pay me to. But he did a lot of them. Another thing he found success at was distributing small, independent movies, including one for his old buddy Duke Mitchell. Last but not least, because it was certainly his most lucrative, was as a manager of a string of nightclubs specializing in strippers and or stand-up comedy. Allow me to repeat that. Strippers and or stand-up comedy. Not a mix you'd expect. Fun fact, if you believe Sammy Petrillo, he wrote one of the 3 or 4 treatments used to rip off the Addams Family. I mean, create the Munsters. There's no evidence to support his claim, but he bragged about it nonetheless.
Q, oh boy, is Quantum Leap.
This science fiction series lasted from 1989 to 1992. It's pretty damn good. Even the bad episodes mostly hold up due to the chemistry between Scott Bakula and the late great Dean Stockwell. Series creator Donald Bellisario has said that Quantum Leap is science fiction without being too sci-fi. As for my review, funny thing about that, it exists for you guys, but not for me. Okay, I've seen it. Okay, part of it. But it's a time travel mess. However, I think me from the timeline that no longer is more or less right about the show. Fun fact, Scott Bakula has used that "oh boy" catchphrase on 3 different TV series: Quantum Leap, Star Trek Enterprise, and NCIS New Orleans.
R is for Ralph.
He's a childhood toy that I thought my cousin had stolen years ago. It turns out he had just gotten lost. One day, I was reviewing some Fleischer Brothers Superman cartoons. I got a little tired and took a nap. When I woke up, King Ralph and a few other childhood knickknacks had risen up and held me hostage until I watched one of their holy films. The episode was supposed to be about the Fleischer brothers, but lucky me, Gulliver's Travels turned out to be a sacred piece of cinema to them. Which is funny because I was tied up just like Gulliver in the movie. When you think about it, I'd be a giant compared to Ralph and his people. But I'm sure that's a complete coincidence. Fun fact, prior to joining our ragtag group for reviews, Ralph can only remember seeing 10 movies, most of which came from this 8 family fun film pack that I got at Dollar Tree. The other 2 being the Captain America TV movies from the 1970s.
R is for Cheryl Roberts.
So, who is that exactly? She's not a movie star, she's not a producer, and she's not the character in a bad movie. She was the editor of an internet magazine called The Collector Times. Without her, Did I Get What I Paid For would not exist. You see, I wrote for a lot of news groups and blogs way back when. Most of them got even fewer hits than the stuff I'm doing now. Another web friend of mine named Jason wrote for her. He showed Cheryl a review of a Sergio Aragones comic I did, and she liked it. She wanted me to expand it, so I did. Then she offered me a regular feature, but I had no idea what to do. And I also had a huge backlog of trade paperbacks. Somehow the 2 problems solved each other as I decided to review them. However, I kept finding myself using some variant on the phrase, "It was entertaining, but not $7 worth of entertaining." So I asked Cheryl if I should combine my idea of doing snarky reviews with the idea of getting what you paid for. She said it was a nice gimmick and I should run with it. When I first came to YouTube, I wanted an easy idea for a show. I realized that Cheryl never paid me for Collector Times work, so I still owned it. I could take that format and adapt it pretty easily. While the series has changed somewhat since then, the underlying premise is still pretty much the same. Fun fact, during the initial run of Did I Get What I Paid For, Cheryl only cut 2 of my jokes. One, because it was funny, but potentially libelous. The other, because, well, let's just say the overlap between Superman fans and people who are fascinated by the assassination of William McKinley is population me. Still, I think if someone had tricked Leon Shalgosh into saying his name backwards, he'd have been sent back to the fifth dimension. Be back here next time for surprises galore in our series finale, S through Z. If you liked this video, please hit like and subscribe. To help this channel really grow, visit patreon.com/ParityErrorFilms and become a patron today.